Hi, Pat.
Hey, how's it going, Chris?
Good to see you again
Yeah,
for
same
our
here.
our Holy Compost chats.
Absolutely. And I just found out something about compost, by the way. So, excuse me, this fellow created a big compost unit over in a friend's yard. And the way he did it is he was cleaning out the garden, which is gone by, most of it. And he put a layer of that, the good old garden stuff that was sort of rotting, and then a beautiful layer of leaves, and then another layer of the garden stuff and the leaves. So I was thinking about that, in our talks, that I hope that we're putting some leaves in between the garbage.
You know what I do? I put my
Giving it a chance to.
I got a new lawnmower, which was so exciting for me. I love to mow the lawn, in the evening in the sun, in the summer when the sun is going down and all the birds are chirping. It's just
Oh
wonderful.
yeah,
But this
yeah, it's heaven.
lawnmower also mulches leaves. So I'm like vacuuming my property, and then I'm putting it on the garden, and then I put some seaweed over that, and I put some wood ash from the wood stove, and then
Oh,
some
beautiful.
compost. And the things that people throw away turn out to be so valuable.
Yeah, yeah,
And in God's economy, that's a that's a thing.
it's good stuff.
Yeah. Sort of like the 12-step program, you come in to it in in desperation
Yeah,
and with a sort of in your most ragged self and total confusion, no clarity, um maybe depressed and despondent, maybe hopeless, and
mhm.
within 6 months to a year there's this radical transformation.
Yep,
Radical transformation. I
yep,
I think the 12 steps, well, Richard Rohr calls the 12 steps the most important spiritual contribution from the West.
yeah, yeah. Good for him. Good for him. I agree with him. I agree with him. It's fallen out of favor in many circles because of its insistence that one must go within. You must go within.
So
It's like,
how do you see that when you think of the 12 steps? wh- what do you think of first when you think of going within?
oh, the fourth step. I mean, they all lead to, steps is the word, first step, second step, third step. Third step gets one ready. A lot of people refer to the third step as a covenant that
Mm.
you're making with God, with this person who's about to go on the journey with you, your sponsor. And then you start going deep by looking at your resentments, unresolved conflicts that are living and thriving inside of us, that we don't know we have, and um, we get down to examine those. First we look at all the people who have done us wrong, and there was a lot of them. They just kept on coming. So we look at that, and then we look at institutions and principles, and same thing. How did they wrong us?
Mm.
Practically everybody in the world puts down the registry of motor vehicle, by the way.
I like going to the registry because I get to see all the people who were born on my birthday,
That's true. That's
who,
true. That's
and
cool.
all the variety in this garden of
Yeah,
life
yeah. Oh,
of
that's true.
April
I never thought
birthdays.
that.
Yeah.
Now that I think of it, they all look like mass murderers. No, I'm only kidding.
Or
There was
mass
a priest there once.
murderees.
Anyway, yeah, so yeah, the going within, boy, it's so unpopular. We have such an externalized culture of oh, that looks nice, it's,
Uh,
yeah.
yeah, I still have a lot of that going on, and I wish that I had less of it going on. Um, but I've also shed a lot of it
Yeah,
in recent years.
yeah.
Place where I used to live was pretty showy, and
Mm,
I lived there for 30 years, so
yeah.
it had an
They tend
impact.
to get showy. They tend to get showy as you go along
Yeah,
because you gain material stuff,
yeah,
you know, from gifts or, celebrations or whatever. Anyway, I thought I'd read this quickly,
please
or I
do.
could wait till the end to read. I could read it at the end.
Oh, why don't you do it now? Because
Okay.
I think it'd be great.
Sure. Okay, so yeah. It's titled Reflection. I love the word reflection. I wish I did more of it. So that's probably why I love it, because it's a word I want to do. All right. Bring me your pain, your sorrow, your despair. I will show you your resilience, a vibrant rainbow after a turbulent storm. I'm going to reread that. Bring me your pain, your sorrow, your despair. I will show you your resilience, a vibrant rainbow after a turbulent storm.
Mm.
Bring me your sharp edges, and I will show you your soft curves. Bring me your fear, your quivering lip, your desire to run. I will show your strength, your courage, your ability to stand firmly rooted. Bring me your wounds. I will show you strong, mended heart, pieced together with the finest gold. Bring me your messiness and chaos. I will show you your beauty and calm inner waters. Bring me your darkness and shadows. I will show you your extraordinary light.
Mm.
Bring me your shame and timidness. I will show you your wild, free, your sensual and your sexual nature. Bring me your grief. I will show you the depth of your love. Bring me all that you thought. I will show you was always there, waiting for you, kept safely in your heart.
Mm.
It's a good one. And I believe that.
Who
I
wrote
believe what
the
this
poem?
says. So this is Gina M. Puro.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, it's a funny Puorro, Puro, I think. Gina. Yeah, it's got a lot of good
Sounded
poems.
it sounded very human divine kind of interaction,
Mm, mm.
because
I'd say most of
I don't really think God is concerned with anything except building us up.
yeah,
And I think that religious institutions have unfortunately emphasized behavior in religion to be like the focal point of
yeah,
religion. If you have good behavior, you're going to get saved. And if you have bad behavior, even a little bit of it, or even think about it, then you are
yeah,
not going in the right direction.
yeah,
And that is so, it's so offensive to me because my experience of the divine is that um, it's only concerned with joy and delight and um, beauty and glory and um, acceptance and authenticity and uh, just your behavior. I mean, first of all, we were created with as people who make mistakes. We weren't created as perfect people, and then somehow we fell off, or those people are perfect, but we fell off.
Right, right.
Um,
Not
so
true.
we have the we have the mechanics for in our being to be sort of noble and also to be evil. It can happen,
Yes,
and it does happen. We see it
yes,
in the news all the time.
yes.
But I I think you might agree that that the beautiful and the authentic and the natural is so much stronger than any kind of I had even hesitate to use the word evil because there's definitely evil in the world and has been in history, but it's a I don't know, it's a frightening thing to think about, and also I'd rather concentrate on the beauty.
Oops, sorry.
Going
I
for a
fell
little
over.
ride here, are we?
Anyway, yeah, no, I agree with you. I agree with you. I'm on listening to somebody wax on about um all the awful things in the world, which a friend of mine does. I think you know him. He anyway, it actually it feels like pinpricks. It's like and I and then I have to say, could you maybe talk with somebody else about this? I really can't stand listening to it, you know? And this person, has a reaction to that, doesn't like that. You get to talk about what you want to talk about. So anyhow, that's how it goes. I mean, it's just
But you raise a good point. Like I start feeling like when I hear the news, I start feeling angry and um, have disbelief and discouraged, and so I have to. And I think there's so much of this out there right now. There's so much pain and suffering because of the structures of things, and uh, um, I need to switch gears when I get into that kind of frame of mind
mm,
and ask myself, um, you know, what what could I do today or right now, right in this moment, that would make the world a better place or make my world a better place, or and I always come up with these little things like smiling at somebody on the street, or
mm,
starting to make a nice dinner, or you know answering the phone with a cheerful voice. Oh, I'm glad to see you.
excuse me.
Because there'll never be uh, a shortage of pain to think about in this world.
Right,
So I
right.
feel like it's up to me. The only person I have control over is me. And
Yeah,
so it's up to me to, in the Serenity Prayer, it says, give me the courage to change the things I can.
right.
So that's a huge thing in my spiritual life, is to ask myself on a daily basis, what do I have the what do I want to change, and do I have the courage to do it?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, you're making me think about something I've been reading and seeing more and more about um living in the present. I mean, it's not something new, being in the present moment, and that's where everything happens, and why aren't we there very often, and so on and so forth. And I what I d- a similar thing I do that you do, and when I'm in the supermarket, now not every time I go, because sometimes maybe I'm tired or I'm preoccupied with some silly thing. But if I'm awake in the supermarket, I am looking at all times for any old person that looks like they don't know what they're looking for. And I will go right over and I will say, what are you looking for? Maybe I can help you. And, 9 times out of 10, they say, yeah, I'm looking for baking powder. And, and the only reason I do, I mean, there's a couple of reasons I do it. First of all, I'm good at finding things on shelves. Do not ask me why. I have no idea.
One of
Just
your many
can't do
gifts.
it. It's a biggie. It's a biggie. That and $4 will get me a half a cup of coffee. Okay. Um, and they're always so happy that someone noticed. I mean, and that's the whole point of it, and yes, so yes, that staying present out in the community, saying hi, trying to put some energy out there, nice, friendly energy. Boy, yeah, that feels important, because there's a lot of times, like I say, I'll be in my head and I'll be like, I would say I'm like an automaton, I'm just kind of, mm, got something to do. Jeez,
And
that's really
so
scary.
what happens psychically? What happens when we're in that absent frame of mind? What's going on?
Good. Yeah, that's a great question.
I
Yeah.
spend a lot of time there.
I think I'm gonna say maybe this isn't the only thing, but I think when I'm that way, there's the old hungry, angry, lonely, tired, the halt.
Oh,
That's could be there, but even more so is the and this is pretty strong, but I think I can get into a place where I'm sensing nothing really matters. I'm not proud to say that. I mean, if you're saying nothing really matters because you know that God is um, the answer, so nothing matters. Or you could be where I'm talking about, which is not a total giving up, but just feeling really wonder how long I can do this for. Now, the thing that I'm thankful for that doesn't usually last very long, and before I know it, I'm shifting again. But to stay in that state for a long, long time, I think would be pretty not good.
mm.
But I
Well,
don't think it's uncommon.
I find myself in that frame of mind on a regular basis, and I and I'm almost always I was going to say able. I'm not sure if it's a thing that if it has to do with ableness or whether it's a gift. Um,
Hmm. Or faith.
yeah, or faith, or maybe a little of all three. I don't know I don't know what the dynamic is, but um, I do know that since I've been observing my thoughts, um, I which has been going on for, I don't know, maybe 15 years. I'm not good with time. Um, that I can say, oh, you're in that again. And you've got a lot to be grateful for. So let's change course here. And
And
it's
and
very easy for me
does
to,
that
is it what?
does that voice come up usually, always, or some of the time? The voice that questions or says you've got a lot to be thankful for, kind
Well,
of.
it's a course correction that is very common for me.
Good,
Because I'll
good.
get into that frame of mind almost every day. And I'm in a stage in my life where things are going very well. So, you know,
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, this, I don't know, whether it's hopelessness or a sense of being empty, but
yeah,
it's probably universal, and it's probably universally regular for people to experience it. Now, the
yeah,
person who, is living in a favela in Brazil and doesn't have a roof over their head and has three hungry children to feed. Um, a lot different than my
Right.
circumstances, right?
Right.
Or somebody who's just been through a traumatic situation. So,
Right.
because I think, thank God for therapists for people who are really traumatized. But I think
Yeah.
the sort of like what I call it is life just isn't perfect enough
Mm,
frame of
mm.
mind,
Right. Right.
which is,
Like it's supposed to be.
yeah, like there's a hefty dose of sarcasm in that, you know,
Yes. Yes.
and but it's a mindset that I find myself in regularly, even though my intellectually I know that there's no reason for me to be there.
Right. Right. You know what's interesting? It's bringing back this thought about when I was an active alcoholic, and hung with other active alcoholics, and everything looks sort of normal when you do that. Oh, this is what life is. It's like, and anyway, one of the war cries that I had and others had, we would say, "Hey, drink up. Life sucks. Then you die." I mean, and that sounds like you really, really said that. But more importantly, you really thought that? Yeah, thought it right to the core, because it was the only way you could uh, explain how you would be sitting in a bar room when other people might need you,
Mm.
like your children.
Mm.
So, yeah, I mean that, and it's funny how strong narratives are, like how much they will affect how we move through life. It's a word, it's used all the time now, this narrative, that we've got this thing, these stories that we tell ourselves. I mean, we would believe them, even if they're the most fairy tale-ish nonsense we ever was ever invented, we believe them. Um, so yeah, that old expression. I remember, I don't know if I said it every time I went out drinking, but almost every time,
Yeah,
because I
life's a
had
bitch,
to,
then you
because it
die.
yeah, because what other explanation did I have for blowing my life away sitting on a bar stool? So, um,
But
yeah,
also you had
yes,
the cheering gallery with your friends who were also saying that, right?
absolutely.
Yeah. And I
And
think,
and everybody was angry. Everybody was angry. We would laugh a lot though, which is really strange, but it would be that dark humor kind of
mhm.
laughter. You know what I mean? It wasn't funny. It
It's
wasn't
funny
Bob
because
Marley or
it's
something.
it's the it's the pain it's the painful truth that's funny.
Yes. 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 And what is that other? There's another. I love these expressions that we've had over the years. Birds of a feather fly together. I don't know. I mean, yeah. And then I found out my friend Bob, who was also an alcoholic and now sober several years longer than I, um, he said that he had a stool in the bar room that he drank in, and and he said, "You know what happened, Patty? As soon as I stopped drinking, I just popped my head in there one night to see if anyone was at my stool, and someone was sitting in my stool, just like I had never been there." It's a telling story,
How did you
because
how did you interpret that?
I interpreted that like when you're in the bar room and everybody's like the good old gang, the good old boys, there's no real connection.
Mm.
The connection is through this
Mm.
alcohol thing. It's really amazing and how real it feels that, these my buds, they really care about me. Nah, nobody ever asked about Bob. Nobody ever asked what happened to Bob. He said, I was just gone. What difference does it make? Somebody else can use the stool, you know? So it's such an empty existence to be actively alcoholic, because there's no happiness, no
Hmm.
joy,
There's only
none.
the attempt to get rid of the pain, but no
Yep.
happiness. Yeah.
No.
And my mother used to talk about people who had built their social life around the drinking.
Mm-hmm.
So not only if you were going to think about stopping drinking, you had to think about also just abandoning your friends, your
Yeah.
social group. So that
Yeah.
was a double whammy.
Totally. And
Um,
will I be? Who will I be now? I used to think, when I was starting the step work and getting real, I used to think, I think I'm going to be a nun. I think I'll probably have to be a nun at the end of this, because I mean, you can't do anything wrong anymore.
and there was a charge from being able to do something wrong.
Definitely, there was
Yeah.
something. Yeah, getting away with something. Yeah, yeah,
Uh-huh.
getting away with something
Yeah.
in a culture that's um has tossed you to the curb, or whatever you're feeling. You know, the blue collar blues.
Yeah, my mother had to hide her drinking because she was a lone drunk.
Mm.
Um, she was a teacher in the high school, and um, that was definitely something that you had to keep secret.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah,
and she was a single parent for one of her um, drinking years, and she had to pay the bills, so
yeah,
she had to keep
yeah.
her job, and so you couldn't tell anybody. So
Uh,
she was a lone drunk, and the preceding years from when she got sober, my father was when he was alive, he traveled and a lot,
mhm.
and so that was adding insult to injury because she had just left a town and a house that she was very attached to, and beautiful people in her social life, and true friends and all that stuff. Um,
Yeah. Well,
so I was in a I was in a Bible study a couple of days ago, and we talked about the church and how kind of ineffective it is for supporting people. And
mhm,
it's not true of all churches, and it does happen, but it should happen a lot more, in my opinion.
I agree.
Um, and she described this sort of ideal church situation. I said, it sounds like a 12-step meeting to me. And it turned out that everybody who was at that meeting just happened to have history in the 12 steps.
Oh, isn't that funny?
Yeah, so it was pretty cool. And of
Yeah,
course, 12-step people, um, it's saved our lives.
yeah,
So we tend to have um very fond allegiance to it.
yes,
Um,
yes, yeah.
so
Well, I think, let me just add quickly in there. One of the things that I am in awe of the 12 steps is, in my mind, whether I had this as a cognizant thought or not, I definitely had a bunch of stuff I was taking to my grave. They say that, like this is never seeing the light of day. Okay, so that
something you
those
had
things are
done.
all something I had done, action I had taken. And then, all the sundry of all the other things, many, many hurt people, et cetera, et cetera. And that, having a sense that nobody is ever going to know this stuff, and just having that kind of backpack on, filled with dark secrets and wrongdoings and lies, and all the rest of it. And, that's not going anywhere. And that I was able, because someone before me did the same, this person was able to share their experience, strength, and hope, and reveal the things that you wouldn't think you'd ever hear anywhere in public. Somebody saying, and I did thus and so, and I was so sorry I did it, and so forth and so on. And it's just like that in and of itself, that one can find a safe place to unload their heartache, their fears, their wrongdoings, in safety, and has been. I mean, it's very rare that stuff gets outside of the room. It happens, of course, but it's very rare. And it's very rare that you can be in a room full of people and they're all holding space for your words and your heart. I mean, wow.
They're all
Yeah.
absorbing your psychic energy, and
Yeah,
they're protecting it.
they're protecting it. That's right. Yeah. Yeah. Unbelievable.
Yeah, it is. It's a unique experience in my life. When I went into Alateen at the age of 15, just a unique experience of realness, and nobody was messing around there. Nobody was messing around. They
Yeah.
meant business,
Yeah.
and the business was healing,
Yes.
healing
Yeah.
and holding and understanding
And grace.
and grace.
Grace. I really understood the word grace finally,
Yeah,
you know.
that's got to be maybe the most beautiful word there is.
I'm with you.
Mm,
I'm with you.
yeah. Yeah. So Richard Rohr says another thing about AA. He says we get it by doing it wrong more than we get it by doing it right.
Yeah, that's
And
good.
I think my understanding of that is that when we screw up, when we make big mistakes, there's a huge learning curve, and also in my experience, there's a receptive, an eager and receptive and loving God on the other side to hold us in our remorse and um, in our sense of failure.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. Yeah, so as we finish up here today, um what would you like to share at the end right now, Chris?
Um, well, I'm grateful for our conversations, and I'm grateful for the understanding and that comes from them, and I'm grateful for being able to talk about my faith, because it's not a common thing for me at all,
Mm-hmm.
and yet
Mm-hmm.
it's a very, very, very central piece of, not piece, it's the whole thing. It's the whole umbrella for my life. So
Yeah.
um, it's a gift to be able to talk about that. And I so appreciate your receptivity and your love.
Mhm. Well, I couldn't have said it better myself. I feel the same. Um, I so look forward to our exchange because, like you just said, you can't talk this way all over the place because people would be like, ho hum, or whatever. Um, Including, that sounds woo woo. I mean, I even say that about spirituality, it's woo woo. And then the other thing is, the sense of being heard, I always feel here with you, hugely important for me and for everyone. And my heart's lighter each time we do this. So I
I
like
would
the
say
Holy
that's
Compost.
a blessing.
It's definitely a blessing. And this is what we get in the Holy Compost.
That's right. The garbage goes in and the gold comes out.
That's right. That's right. Absolutely.
Okay,
Well,
my
see you
friend.
the
Well,
next time.
yeah, great to talk to you again, and we'll sign in for our next Holy Compost soon.
Sounds good to me.
Okie doke.
Take care.